Welcome to the Jackson Rudolph Podcast. I am your host, Jackson Rudolph, and we have a very special episode 115 today. As you can see on screen right now, we have 2007 Masters champion, 2015 the Open champion, which is the oldest tournament in the history of golf. I found that out researching for this episode. And the current, which this is like the craziest thing to me, the current Team USA Ryder Cup captain, Zach Johnson himself. It is such an honor to have you on the show, and I've been telling everybody in the sport karate community to have somebody from a mainstream sport that has performed at the absolute highest level. It is a privilege to have you on the show. We're going to talk about golf. We're going to talk about karate too, and I'm just super excited for it. I think all the viewers can see my excitement for this episode. But first, sir, I'll give you the opportunity to tell our Black Belt Magazine audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, first of all, Jackson, it isn't my honor to be a part of this. Let's just say the Johnson household are certainly passionate in the world of martial arts, and we'll get into that, as you mentioned. And my one son in particular is kind of in, two disciplines with, jiu-jitsu and specifically karate, which is his passion. And then, obviously, we're huge fans of yours, both how you go about your work and how you go about your business, but also how you are around people and kids. And as an adult, as a parent, that is something we don't take for granted. So it is my distinct honor to be a part of this. Yes, you alluded to it. I hit a ball, I chase it, and I hit it again. It's not that glamorous, but evidently people think it's pretty cool. So I like it. I am a competitor at heart. Everything I've done as a kid leading up to my young adult life and obviously now into my well into my 40s, it is still what drives me. It's what gets me up to go work. It's what gets me up to go to the gym, to get manipulated, to get rubbed down on, to get, all the above. I treat it as a job. It is my profession. I try not to take it at home much, but sometimes, your work does come home with you. But I am a product of great people, great support, and I know we'll get into that too when it comes to the world of martial arts and karate in particular. Again, I can't say it enough. I'm happy to be with you all, happy to be a part of this and what you guys do at Black Belt.
Thank you so much, especially for the kind words. And again, just for taking the time. And I think one of the most important things to do first is I know a number of people are tuning in wanting to know about winning the Masters and all that. But let's keep in mind, y'all, this is a sport karate podcast, right? And we will talk about golf, I promise. But I want to start by tell us that story. How did your family first get involved with martial arts? I know obviously your son Wyatt is traveling the circuits right now, a couple different ones. We've seen him at the NASCAR tournaments. But take us back. Where did your family's involvement with the martial arts begin?
Yeah, no, we live down in South Georgia. We're the Golden Isles of Georgia. There's not much coastline, but of what there is, we're right in the middle of it, and specifically on St. Simon's Island. And we've got a great facility here, a great dojo, but it's more than that. It's called The Brick. And a gentleman by the name of Joey Harrison, who's become a really good friend of certainly our household, but he loves golf and he loves karate, and his passion is kind of both, but he worked in both fields. He has taken this area to new heights when it comes to martial arts, and we owe a lot to him, frankly. It's what cultivated and fostered the love of, I would say, this great sport, karate, to my middleman, Wyatt. But my eldest son actually went in there first. He's older, and Wyatt was still really, really young when Will went in, and did it for a couple of years. It just, he liked it. He had some friends in there, but it just wasn't his calling. So, he went out and he plays football. I mean, he's a normal kid too, just like Wyatt, but it really grabbed Wyatt. And I mean, I would say at the age of almost 3, it just captivated them. And then you throw in some movies and things of that nature. And as a young kid like that, Wyatt was just, he's been both feet in the entire time from the beginning. He goes to school and he comes home or goes straight to the dojo pretty much every day. And we love it. it's been great for him. Obviously, I love it. I didn't do it as a kid, but I love it for him because of the focus, obviously, but more so I would say the discipline and respect that are completely innate to karate. I think it's I wish I would have done it. I mean, I think certainly my body could have had some benefit from it too, but I love what it does inside the brain. I love what it does for him emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of that. I just think it's I think it's a great thing. And the beauty of it is, that you raise your kids as we're parents, and this is what we're trying to put them in the best position for success in life, et cetera, et cetera. But I think another cool thing, and again, we can talk more about this as the night goes on, is he's got another mentor, that's not me or not his mom. And I think, I shouldn't say that. He's got multiple. I mean, there's not one. Certainly Joey Harrison is the one that started it for Wyatt and continues to cultivate that in numerous ways, both in and out of the dojo, which I'm grateful for.
That's awesome. And what's crazy about that story is and I think that a lot of martial artists can relate to this when I say this, but when you talk about, Wyatt from like the age of 3, like falling in love with it, wanting to come to every class, as soon as he's done with school, going to the dojo, like that was me. Like that was me when I was a 6-year-old, was coming in and I literally would not leave the school until they were out of classes for me to take. Right.
Sure.
And it's something that the martial arts has this unique impact on those who fall in love with it, to really make it a lifestyle in addition to just being a hobby or a sport. It becomes part of your identity, right?
Right.
I think you spoke beautifully about some of the things that you've already seen it do for Wyatt. And I wanted to hit on that a bit more specifically, because that's something a lot of martial arts school owners watch this show, and we're always trying to think of ways to get more people in the martial arts. And you talk about the physical fitness, you talk about the tenets of martial arts that it teaches to kids and those life principles. But when you look at Wyatt pre-martial arts, which of course he was very young, but then watching Wyatt start to grow in martial arts, what do you feel are some of the biggest things that you've been impressed by about what the martial arts has done for your son?
Yeah, no, you said it. I mean, granted, when he started, he was really, really young. I mean, we're talking really young at 3, but it's still a progress. It's still ongoing. I think he's still maturing, obviously, as a young boy, but he's still maturing in the world of karate. And what I see is that, and I've seen this in my world too, right? Whether it's my coach and the young students he has, or, you might see it in all sports, basketball, football. You have these kids that, I mean, when you're a kid, it's fantastic. If given the opportunity, you go to the classroom, right? You wait for that last bell to ring, and then you go to whatever your passion is. And that's what Wyatt does. What I know is the more he is focused, the more he is his time is given in the dojo, the better he is in the classroom too. So it's the budgeting of time. It's the discipline of knowing, hey, you know what, I'm going to the dojo. I represent the Johnson family. I represent myself, but I also represent Team Brick, and that's cool. It's more than just himself. There's something bigger than him, and I love that sort of growth and that sort of mentality where, I'm going to try to better myself each and every day, which is what I do too. He's going to try to get better at the basics. He's going to try to get better at all the elements that he's got his hands in, because he's got his hands in a lot right now. But at the same time, he still, keeps his priorities in line, right? And I think the dojo helps that. I mean, it just puts everything in place. It starts with Joey Harrison, like I mentioned. And then I would also say his 2 kids have really been extreme mentors, Kylie and Boston, 2 individuals that Wyatt just looks up to at 12 years old. I mean, that's great to have a high school kid and a college, or post-college kid to look up to in this world is special. And then now, because of the networking of karate and the tournaments that he's in and yada, 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 you know what I'm talking about. He's gotten to meet people, and now it's just mushrooming and growing. And so we don't want to hold him back, right? We want him to keep following his passion. There's a fine line between pushing him and going too far and getting that burnout versus still having the itch and the drive to want to do it. So I think we've got a good pulse on that. He played a little bit of football this year to be with his buddies, and that's great. He's 12, but it still hasn't stopped the passion to want to get in the dojo, to want to get. We've got a little makeshift dojo at the house, and he can go in there as long as he wants, and we love it. I mean, it's so cool. It's so special. I mean, if you have a kid that wants to chase a dream and you can help push them along, let's do it.
I love that. And I think that so many sport karate competitors, so many sport karate families tuning in can relate to that one room in the house that just becomes a dojo. That comes with the territory of being a traveling competitive martial artist. And I love the point that you made about mentorship. I actually wrote an article for Black Belt Magazine on this recently, and about how important, not just in martial arts, but specifically in sport karate, the seeking and finding mentorship and the impact that those individuals can have on a child's development, can have on a competitive career. And so I love the fact that you're speaking about that. And I also love, this other theme that's becoming very evident of it takes a village, right? Multiple mentors, but also, of course, the family support. And this is where I wanted to make sure that we got this shout out in the show, because your wife has become, and this is a positive term, the karate mom, right? And I remember my mom was the same way. Every sport karate competitor needs the karate mom who does all the research, figures out all the tournaments, figures out who the best coaches are. So I want to give you the opportunity to just talk about how much of a rock star she has been and helping this career get kickstarted for Wyatt.
Yeah, Kim is the karate mom. She's also the karate wife. I mean, she loves it. She loves it for just the mere fact that you have a kid, one of her children, that his heart is attached to it. And as a mom, I mean, certainly as a dad even too, but as a mom, you want to immerse them in it as many times as you can, as much as you can. But she does it in such a graceful and loving manner. I mean, she's not overbearing. I just mentioned it. He played football this fall. He wanted to be with his buddies. He wanted to be on a team. I didn't want the burnout factor. He had a long summer of competition and even early fall, some karate competitions. And so I'm like, hey, you know what? You can do this. We're not going to lose that much. You can still get in the dojo. You can still do it at home. And Kim, I knew she was kind of like, oh man, but she was like, Wyatt, I want you to do what you want to do. Karate's going to be there. I'm going to support you. And that's exactly what she did. That's just a side note. She's his coordinator when it comes to tournaments. We have enough resources that we can get him to a lot of these tournaments so he can compete. And that's her goal. She just wants to be able to provide a platform for this kid to go compete because he loves it. He loves it. He loves the nerves. He loves the fight. He loves the difficulty. He loves being uncomfortable, which at that age is kind of difficult to teach, right? I mean, I've learned that as I go, but I mean, you grow so much when you're pushed and your nerves are high. And Kim knows that this kid has the capacity to do that. And she recognized it from the very, very beginning in his first couple of competitions. I mean, she's taken him everywhere. And now, because of these competitions, because of these tournaments, because of the networking, which I would say of this sport karate family, which is pretty fantastic, she's met so many different people along the way and given him some other opportunity outside of our dojo here at the Brick with other types of elements, whether your creative things and bow and, weaponry and that kind of stuff that it's totally grabbed him. So I will say, just looking at it from my lens and what I see, she loves the people and the community that is sport karate. It is something that she, as a mom, she feels welcome. She sees other moms and other parents involved, and everybody's in it together. It's like, you want your son or your daughter to finish high and win and this, that, and the other, and take all these trophies home. My goodness, trophies are an issue. But at the same time, you're so grateful and proud of just being there. And then so when you see somebody else have success, I mean, what they're going through. And Kim is so understanding of that. She's so graceful in that. I mean, she's the best, and I say all this. I was playing the mini tours in this game of golf when I met her. So you can only imagine what she did for me as a young tour pro. trying to earn his keep and work my way up to the ranks. So she is the epitome of just graceful support. That's the best way I can put it. She is she's solid. She just wants you to have fun. She feels it's God's calling for him, which I really appreciate as a faithful man. She just knows that, you know what, Wyatt's got a gift. I'm going to try to cultivate it. I'm going to try to foster it. I'm going to try to build it as best I can, fully knowing that Wyatt's got to do the work. So she's a partner in this with him. And I appreciate it because I travel for a living still. So I can't go to all these competitions, but Kim does. I mean, she's taken this kid everywhere. And it's fantastic.
That's awesome. Once again, so beautifully said. And there's nothing that warms my heart like hearing somebody say that about the sport karate community. And that is really one of the reasons why I get on a podcast like this and I scream from the mountaintops for people to get involved in this sport, because there's not a lot of sports like that don't have, that toxic environment that can come from competition, right? But as martial artists, there's a part of the training that teaches you to respect the opponent at a certain level in a way like golf. Like there's the etiquette of golf that is learned along the way. Martial arts very much has a similar culture in that way. And I find that really fascinating, and I'm sure we'll get into some of those comparisons. But now we've talked about Karate Mom, and you mentioned that you're around when you can be, but obviously you can't come to every tournament. So now I want to ask you, how much do you feel like a karate dad? How much do you, do you ever sit there and like watch his forms and see him train? Like what's your level of involvement in the karate space?
No, that's a fair question. I'm not one that's going to sit there and overly critique a whole lot as far as, hand placement. I mean, I can see speed, but I mean, where your feet should be. That's not my bandwidth, if you will. But what I do is I make sure. I've been to a number of his competitions. I go to the things that I know that I can control or that I can be of use to him that can only help, right? So, I mean, he's 12 again. But as time goes on, you want to have great habits, right? You want to start at a young age and encourage whoever this person is, this young boy, this young girl, to really focus on the things before you get into the competition that you can control, right? You can't control what the judges do, right? I can't control specifically where my golf ball ends up every shot, but I can control my cadence. I can control what I do before I compete, meaning my warm-up, what I eat, how long I'm in the gym, et cetera, what I drink, what I don't drink, where my eyes go, all of that. So with Wyatt, I mean, because I think he's pretty high level for a kid his age, right? I mean, Wyatt, what are you drinking tonight? Because you got a competition tomorrow. What time do you want to get to bed tonight so you can be fresh for tomorrow? When you get there, how much time do you want to warm up to get a good modest sweat in before you start really competing? Do you want some stretching? I can help with that. I mean, the basics, but hey, do you want some hydration formulas? Those little things that seem very minute and maybe not that big of a deal, especially at 12, can be at 14, really will be when you're an older teenager. And then if you keep following this into your 20s, it's going to be a massive deal because the competition is going to get stiffer. It's just everything's heightened. So if, those are the things that I can I have an eye on because it's what I do. But when it comes down to the technique, no, I just admire his balance, his speed, and certainly his just fortitude and how he goes about it, because he's so technical and tactical on how he approaches his karate. That's our similarity. We're very strategic and very calculated. Wyatt is a very calculated individual in the classroom, in the dojo, in competition. He's right here. And I think that's probably where our similarities are. The parallels are. But after that, I mean, he's got more flexibility than me. He's certainly got a lot more speed than me, a lot stronger than I was at his age. I mean, I was a runt. So I admire him. He doesn't mind a stage. And for some of these kids at that age, man, getting on the stage and being, mean, it is an individual sport at some point, right? I mean, where it's just you. Yes, you have mentors and you've got coaches and things of that nature, but at some point it's just you, right? And there's certain things you just can't teach, and he has it. He has it. It's impressive. I love watching it, and I want to support it.
That's so cool. And all those things you mentioned, absolutely. And I love the timeline that you gave of like how it's going to continue to like stack one on top of the other and continue to help him more and more. But I would also say, don't sell yourself short on the technique stuff, because that is something that, like, as karate parents, moms and dads alike, if you're ever seeing the kid train, compete, whatever, you pick things up very, very quickly. And like my mom and dad, my dad was like a purple belt when he was like in middle school, I think. But other than that, my mom and dad have like zero actual martial arts experience. Sure. But it got to a point where by the time I was 16, 17, 18, and really even before that, mom and dad could both watch what I was doing with zero training experience themselves and know, like, hey, that didn't look right. You need to do that again. Right? So don't sell yourself short on the technique.
Well, I appreciate that. What I have learned in the technique has either been one from Joey. I can't speak highly about that, enough about that guy. Or two, from my wife. She can pick up on it. Going back to it. I mean, it's impressive. She's like, well, you know, that kata, the rhythm was just a little bit off in this sequence, or whoa, you know, I mean, she's on it. I mean, going back to it, she's a karate mom. She loves it and she wants to help. And I think that's great.
That's awesome. And so we mentioned that you've been to a few of these tournaments, and obviously being a professional golfer, you have seen what a professional sport should look like at the highest level to attract the attention of sponsors, to get viewership, all of the things that come beneath that, right? And that is something that sport karate as a community is so desperately trying to achieve, because as the athletes, as the people who are in it, we know that what we do is cool. It's about trying to get viewership for it, trying to get sponsorship behind it. And so what have you seen in the tournaments that you've attended? Like, we met at the Battle of Atlanta, one of the biggest tournaments, right? So at these events that you've seen, what are some things that you notice that you can tell we're on the right track and we're doing well? And where are those missing pieces? What else needs to be done to help sport karate reach a more mainstream level?
Right. Well, yeah, it's hard to really diagnose that and dissect it, I guess. But from what I see, there's a couple of things that I really, really appreciate right off the bat. Okay. Obviously, the sport in general, I greatly appreciate. I really enjoy. I'm kind of an old school mentality. I really enjoy. I'll just say this: like when it comes to golf, I certainly appreciate and introduce technology or new age things if I really feel like there's a distinct benefit. But when it comes down to it, golf is still golf. It hasn't really changed that much, you know? So what I appreciate about karate is that the basics, the traditional in particular, but the basics of karate, they're never going to stop. They're never going to be reinvented. So whatever those pillars are, those foundational pillars of karate are, they still, regardless of where you go or how you get there, they still have to be the foundation for this sport, in my opinion. Now, I love the creative side. It's introducing some cool things. You got some music here. You got some, you know, maybe some different types of modalities and movements here. That's awesome. I mean, it kind of looks, I mean, to the ignorant guy, it kind of looks ninja-like, right? So I really, I appreciate it. I think it's what it is. It's going back to it. It's sport karate. Those guys and gals are bona fide athletes. So yeah, they deserve a stage. I mean, they work so hard at this. I know, you know, finally, you know, the Olympics are obviously involved now, or starting to get to be involved. When it comes to, like, you know, growing it and this, that, and the other corporately, yeah, that's difficult. I get it. What I know, and I kind of compare it to golf, and I also kind of compare it to my foundation that Kim and I have. You got to tell success stories. You got to tell the stories of these kids that started here, went to here, and worked their way up, and the trials and tribulations along the way, the difficulties along the way, the successes along the way, because those stories can grab somebody. And now, hey, they're 25, they're 26. I mean, you're obviously one of them, Jackson. What are they doing now? Are they still in the competitive side of things? How are they using karate martial arts in growing it? You know, I think those are the stories that need to be grabbed. and what I'm alluding to is the youth of the sport is paramount. So the underbelts, whatever you want to call them, those individuals are the most important aspect of sport karate right now. You have to focus on growing it at that young age. I mean, like a Wyatt, right? I mean, maybe not 3 years old, but I mean, at a young age, because it will grab them. I mean, it will grab them. It doesn't matter what it is. And there's kids that you see these videos on social media, this kid hitting a golf ball at 3 years old. And I mean, Tiger Woods was on the Tonight Show at 3 years old hitting a golf ball. You're going to see, some kid at 3 years old on some show, and the next thing you know, he's breaking blocks and that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things that need to be, I don't know, they need amplified. And I think you really got to start at the young age, the kids, the boys and girls that just have a passion for it, because they're easy to tell those stories. Now, the tournaments in themselves, I'm a creature of habit. I'm not superstitious. You're probably not going to like this, Jackson, but I'm all about, hey, my tee time is at such and such time. I got to be at the golf course at 2.5 hours because I tee off at 1 o'clock. So I got to be there at 10:30, and I'm on the table for 15 minutes. Then I'm in the gym. Then I'm eating, and then I'm going to the range. It's very regimented, and there's not a whole lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? Synergy throughout the day of a tournament. And I get it. It's hard because
you are preaching to the choir.
Holy cow. I don't have the answer, but the logistics of a karate tournament, you got to be patient. That's good. That's one thing that does teach you. The virtue of patience is paramount. There's just certain things you can't control. And I firmly acknowledge that and understand that. So you kind of got to roll with it. Kudos to Wyatt and certainly all of his competitors too. But Wyatt's so good about it. I mean, he's just sitting there like this, watching people if he's not competing, and then he's kind of like, okay, I think I got about 20 minutes. I better go warm up. Or I mean, he's pretty dialed in. But I love it. It's almost like controlled chaos, and I think there's something to be said about that, because it's like nothing I've ever been to. I played basketball, soccer. I've been to tournaments all over, whether it's my sister or myself or whomever, my brother. I've seen it all, and it is a spectacle. And I thoroughly love, depending on the weekend, the Friday night, Saturday night, the big, help me out. What's it called? Friday nights and Saturday nights.
You mean like the night show on Saturday night?
The night show, yeah, exactly. I love that. You get some of the best competitors, or maybe even some individuals that have really succeeded in their discipline to go up there and perform. And I mean, it's like going to watch high level, football. I mean, it's like, you're watching some of the college kids perform, and then some of them get to go on stage, and then, oh wait, there's an NFL guy right there performing. I mean, it's the best at their discipline. They're the best athletes, certainly maybe in that region, wherever you are, Southeast, Northeast, competing. And I think I know those are starting to be streamed online and that sort of thing, and they need to be, because those kind of things need to get out there. I'll say this, my parents, who live in Iowa, right, came to one of Wyatt's competitions last year in Minneapolis. It's not that far. And my dad was just like, oh my God. And he's seen everything, right, with his kids, and certainly with me playing a sport for a living. He's seen everything, and he was just in awe of it all. And it had everything to do with the athletes.
That's awesome. There's so much that I love about what you're saying here. And you identified like the number one thing that every single karate parent ever wishes could be better, which is the fact that tournament, it's always hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that, you feel that just like every other karate parent feels that. But then I also, I think that a lot of martial artists relate to the need for the stories to be told, of the 6-year-old that showed up to the U.S. Open or the Battle of Atlanta or whatever big tournament, and they saw, like you said, those NFL caliber martial artists at the highest level. And that's one of the things that is so unique about sport karate right now, is that you can't just register and show up and watch these guys at the highest level. You can register and come compete against them. Right. All of these high-level sport karate tournaments are open registration. Right. So it's again, smaller pond by a significant margin, But it's like if you could just sign up to play in the Masters sometimes, right?
Yeah, right.
Like that's where sport karate is at in our development right now. And I really think that martial artists should take advantage of that. Come and compete with the best and see what that's like. And who knows where that could bring the sport if more people are doing it.
Love it.
While we're on this topic of kind of comparing some elements of golf and the martial arts, I want to ask, from what you've seen in Wyatt's young martial arts career, and you thinking back to your career as a young golfer and, you know, rising through the ranks and realizing at some point that you had what it took to go pro, right? What similarities or differences, how can you compare Wyatt's journey now to what you felt when you were his age?
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, that's my wife, Kim, always says that he's kind of the one that's more like me. Our eldest is probably a little bit more like her. There's probably some truth to that. Then we have a daughter who, I don't know, she's just perfect, right? But I don't know. I mean, I will say, as when I was a kid, my life was in Iowa, growing up in Iowa. There's 4 seasons up there, and it's the extremes of extremes, right? Hot in the summer, freezing in the winter. So sports were, seasonal, right? I played basketball in the winter, and eventually played a little bit of golf, soccer, baseball, whatever it may be. As a kid, I played everything, tennis. But I could not, once I saw something and started to feel it, whether it was a racket or a ball or a club or something like that, I was in. It had me. And, I was decently skilled. I wasn't very powerful or fast, but I had skill. I had coordination. I could throw, I could hit, things of that nature. And so for me, that's what drove me, is just pure competition. I wanted to win at everything. I was the kid that went to school and was just twiddling his thumbs, waiting for that last bell to ring so I could get to practice or get to a game or whatever it may be. The weekends, my parents were my chaperones and they'd take me everywhere, and that was my childhood, And I'm 46 now, so this is a long time ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday, and I loved it. That's what drove me. I see the same thing in Wyatt. He is all about, like, why I pick him up from school and I'm like, dude, you got, get some homework done here in the car, because we got an 8-minute drive to the dojo, and you got your elite team first, and then you're teaching a little bit with Mr. Joey, and then you've got jiu-jitsu, and he's got 3 different things, and he's there till 7:30 at night, and then he's got to go home and eat. So you know what I'm talking about. He doesn't even flinch. He's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. He is so in on it. He just wants to be in it. And that was me. Whether it was a team or an individual sport, I just wanted to be in on it. And I loved how it pushed me mentally, how it pushed me physically. I see that with him. It doesn't faze him. He can accept losing, which is a big part of it, because you're going to lose more than you're going to win. I think that's a great thing to learn. And the only way to do it is to get in it. The only way to do it, as you just mentioned, is to sign up. And it's gonna stretch you, and you're gonna get better. You start competing against some really, really good martial artists, you're gonna lose, but you're gonna know what you got to work on. You can, if you look at it properly, and obviously have great people around you, you can dissect it and figure out, hey, how am I gonna get better? Look what this young lady did, and look what this gentleman did, and you'll figure it out. And I love that about sports. I'm like, hey, I'm off, but why am I off? I see that with Wyatt. He knows he can't be perfect, but he's always striving to be perfect. And I think that's probably where we're very parallel in what we do. I know it's impossible. No one's perfect in any sport. And I've played against the best, in my opinion, in the game, but their mental approach is perfect. And that's what I'm trying to instill in Wyatt.
I couldn't have said that better myself. And a theme that you brought up a few times now, and I really want to dive into it some, is this competitiveness, right? That you see in Wyatt, that obviously you had coming up and becoming a professional golfer, right? And so this is for the golfers tuning in for this episode. This is where we're going to get more golf oriented. But one thing that I wanted to ask, because we get this in sport karate too, and you even mentioned once how sport karate, when it comes down to it, is an individual sport, but you compete on teams. And I know from some of the leadership roles that I've had on elite sport karate teams, it can be difficult when you have elite competitors at the highest level that compete on an individual basis, but there's certain times where they do come together as a team, right? As the acting Ryder Cup captain, you have a wealth of experience with this, right? Of these guys who are world-class competitors, but for this one event, they come together and work together, right? So in this leadership position and in similar leadership positions that you've had, can you speak to that a little bit? Just these ultra competitors being able to come together and be on the same team after, a few months ago, they were at the Masters trying to beat each other for a green jacket.
No, you said it. You said it perfectly. Now, and I'll certainly try to add some stuff to it. I mean, I think, I failed to mention, like, we know that karate has grabbed Wyatt, right? It just grabbed him. And it's not like he sought it out. It grabbed him. Golf did the same thing for me. I wanted to be a professional athlete. I thought it'd be something else, but golf grabbed me. And I wrote it and I took it, and I had coaches at a young age, right? I had a team even back then, right? Of coaches and mentors back then. And then as I got older and got into college and post-college and started playing major, I got this great team of individuals that supports me to play this great game. Now, you said it. Wyatt has his dojo, his sensei, and Joey Harrison, and certainly his kids that have helped him, and a couple other individuals that that have really helped him. So now he's got a great team, but going back to it, when you're in it and you're in the competition, it's just you. Anytime you can go into a competition, in my opinion, this is what I've experienced in golf. Anytime I can go into a competition, inside the ropes, hitting golf shots, and at the end of it, it's not about my score individually only. It's so much more fulfilling. The more I'm in on a team element, it drives me. So anytime I've been on a President's Cup or a Ryder Cup team playing or helping lead, if you will, it is the highlight of my year as a professional golfer. I love it. And then the mere fact that you can represent this great nation, the best country in the world, frankly, in the USA, it's even more special. Side note, Wyatt did represent the U.S. in London. I'm sure you were there. How many years ago was that? 4 or 5 years ago? I don't remember. So he was like 7 or 8 when he was over there competing. It was 2019, I think. So pre-COVID, right? Anytime you can represent your country, anytime you can be a part of a team that's bigger than you, it's special. I think it puts things in perspective really quick. It almost makes you focus more, work harder, and in golf, we're trying to beat each other's heads in so much week in, week out. But and that's the truth. We're trying, even the best of friends out there are trying to beat each other bad. But at the end, whether it's an individual week, you might see some guys on the 18th green congratulating this guy because they know how hard it is. They know what this guy's going through off the golf course and what he's done in the dirt to get better, because we've all done it. It's the same thing in karate. They know your competitors now are you part of your team. They know how hard you work and how difficult it is. They know, frankly, the blood and sweat you put into it, and fully acknowledge that, man, it's hard. But when there's some success and people and a team can revel in that success together, it's better than anything individually I've ever been a part of.
And that energy you talk about, as a viewer of the Ryder Cup, you see it, right? Like when you watch the Ryder Cup, you see this totally different energy that the golfers have in comparison to what you would see at a regular tour event, right? And that's one of my favorite things about watching the event. And so as we're shifting the show to talking more about your golf career now, I want to ask one of the basic questions first, right? Sure. You have been one of those athletes that rises to the top of a particular sport, right? Multiple times throughout your career, you have been at that pinnacle, right? Mm-hmm. What do you most attribute that to? Was it that competitiveness deep inside you? Was it a level of work ethic that you had in the practice rounds you get in? What is the one or two things, however you want to put it, that enabled you to have such success?
Yeah, I mean, that could be a podcast in itself. I mean, probably days worth. But it's hard to pick one or two out. I mean, I would say first and foremost, my story is fortunate in the sense that every time I went out and competed, I felt like I could win. Okay. And I lost way more golf tournaments than I've won. But I won at every level. You know, I won as a young amateur, if you will. I won in college a couple times. I was not an All-American. I was not that good. But I won. I learned how to win. And then when I played the mini tours, trying to work my way up to the PGA Tour, I won at those levels too. So the realization of learning how to win was a big part. That's just experience, right? That's just learning how to do it. But that's not the number one reason as to why I'm sitting here talking to you. The number one reason is that I am, without question, a product of great people, great individuals that I've been fortunate to meet along the way. I am going back to it. It is an individual game when it comes to the execution of a golf shot. It's an individual sport when it comes to doing your kata. However, I couldn't go out and do what I do week in, week out without my team. And I'm talking about my coaches in particular, right? Starting with the guy that started me back in Iowa when I was a kid to now my swing coach of 23, 24 years. And then you throw in my sports psychologist. God knows I need him. And all the physio guys I've worked with along the way, the chiropractors, the doctors. I mean, all of these individuals. Then you throw in my caddies, right? I mean, all of these individuals are there because they're competitive and they want to see me have success. They encourage me. They push me. All of the above. And I'm grateful for that. So my story is one of other people. And I think a lot of guys are. I mean, there's only so many freaks out there that can do it by themselves. But I am fully acknowledged that I can't do what I do without them. And then you throw in, you know, my sponsors who alleviate a lot of things outside the ropes, give me the freedom to go play golf, you know, and they're like a family to me. It's not just wearing a logo or representing, you know, this company because it looks good. It's because we're in this together. And I love that too. It's got to be a win-win. And it's so much deeper than just something on my bag or on my shirt. So fortunate, very fortunate in that regard. You know, I know there's some God-given ability in there. Going back to your question, I get that. But I've always had the drive mentally to push it to extreme limits. But again, I can't do that by myself. I have to have somebody else's eye, somebody else's wisdom along the way so that I can go play and be successful. The beauty of my team is that we're never complacent. We're never we're not real caught up in maintenance. We're all about getting better. And where are my feet today? How are we going to get better today? This is what we're going to do, right? It's the gym. Yeah, this is what we're going to do when we go to the golf course. It's very calculated. You got an hour of this, an hour of that. Get in the golf course, play some golf, run some games, challenge yourself. It's recovery. It's food. It's sleep. It's all of that. I'm not suggesting I'm great at it. There's times where I'm really not because I love to eat. But it's all of that. So I am never content with where I'm at. I'm always trying to get better. And that's what I see with Wyatt. Wyatt might bring home a trophy. The next thing you see him is he's back in the dojo the next day trying to get better because he saw you or he saw Ben Jones, you know, who's helping him. And do you know Ben? I don't know if you know him. I'm just kidding.
I do that yourself.
I know you. I got you. You know, and he's great. He loves acknowledging you as a result, right? And that's the beauty of the networking of this great sport of karate is that, you know, Ben is a product of Jackson Randolph. And now Wyatt's going to be a product of Ben Jones. I mean, that's it's almost like it's too good to be true, right? He looks forward to those using technology, right? A Zoom call or FaceTime in his dojo, and they're working for an hour, and he's sweating, and it's just awesome. So Wyatt's never complacent. He's always trying to get better. I see that, and I don't really have to push him. You know, I mean, if I needed to, I would, but it's rare.
And that's what you always want to see in competitors that have a future in this sport, in any sport, is that drive and that relentlessness, that even when something goes well, the very next day or even the same day, you're back in the dojo putting the work in. I've got so much respect for the whole answer. It's a great segue because you talk about how sponsorship is more than wearing a logo because it's cool, but how you know, in the sponsorships that you've been a part of, there's a family and a team aspect behind that. And in sports karate, obviously the team that I've represented for the majority of my career is Team Paul Mitchell. Yeah, sponsored by the shampoo company, as people always ask me when I say that, right? But one thing that's interesting is that whereas in other sports where sponsors, it's not like there's necessarily one sponsor that's like the prestigious sponsor, and you know, in karate it is that way. Where Paul Mitchell is, if you get the call to be on Paul Mitchell, it doesn't matter what other colors you were wearing. You say yes, and you pick up the phone and you represent Paul Mitchell, right? And so the only thing that I feel like I can compare that to in other professional sports would be something like getting the call to be on the Ryder Cup team. And so I want to, you know, we've been talking about your career, but I want to hit some of the specific highlights. And I know that getting the call to be a Ryder Cup captain must have been special, right? So tell us a little bit about that phone. Who even makes that phone call? Like, tell us what that moment was like.
Right. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, first of all, segue. Wyatt's goal, you know, I mean, call it bulletin board goal or whatever, you know, your mirror goal that you look at every day is to be on Paul Mitchell.
That's cool. All right. If you can still hear me, sorry, I think we lost you for a second. Looks like you might have froze up. Everybody tuning in, give us 1 second. We're going to work through the technical difficulties here. Let's see. Right, we're going to get our guest back with us here in just one moment. We're going to get some technical difficulties sorted out. Oh, I think we're back. We're good.
Okay. Sorry. I don't. That's probably my Wi-Fi. I apologize.
You're good.
Just saying, you know, his goal is to be on Paul Mitchell. That is his ultimate goal. I just want him to work to that point. If he gets there, great. If he doesn't, yeah, we're back on. That was my wife saying. Anyway, yes, the Ryder Cup, like I said, it's the best thing I've ever been associated with as a professional golfer, competitively. You know, I mean, again, just going back to the mere fact that you represent way more than yourself. And I love that. I love feeling small, but I love working as a team. So the call, there's, as you can understand, there's a lot that goes into it. The entity that runs it in the United States is the PGA of America, not the PGA Tour. The PGA of America is without question the grassroots of the game of golf. It is the, you know, if you're going to have a comparison, it's your local dojo, right? It's the pros that you see at a golf course that are trying to grow the game, that are trying to make the game better than, you know, when they started. So this group, these group of individuals were fantastic. They have what's called a Ryder Cup Committee, and I served on that for I don't know how many years. You got to throw COVID in there. It's all kind of a blur. But long story short, the selection to be the 2023 Ryder Cup captain was one of a few individuals off of the PGA of America, their president, their vice president, the CEO, all friends of mine. And then I guess the beauty of it is the phone call was really made by my peers too. Like giving me the go ahead to be the captain was, you know, the individuals, a lot of that people know, right? It was some of my former captains, and then you throw in the likes of Tiger Woods and individuals like that gave me the support to go do it. Now, it was given to me, and it was one of those where it wasn't a dream come true, because I don't think my dreams ever got that far, Jackson. Being fully transparent, I always wanted to play professional sports, and then obviously golf took me, and I wanted to win golf tournaments. But, you know, being a part of a Ryder Cup team was probably one of my goals. But being a Ryder Cup captain, I didn't think that would ever happen. So I fully acknowledge and admire, and I'm grateful for the honor, because it is an honor. There's only been so many of those guys that have done it. I think I'm the 30th or 31st or something like that. So I'm still in awe of the whole thing, but I think I am ready. I definitely think I'm ready. And I guess the beauty of it is that I get to share this with my wife, which is really, really cool because she's very much involved in a lot of decisions and the weeks leading up to the actual cup. So we get to share it together. And then again, I go back to it. I'm not gonna be hitting any shots in September in Rome, but I will have a group of 12 guys that will go do that for us and represent our country in the best of ways. But I will have five vice captains along my side. That will be my team, right? That I will confide in, that I will stretch and ask questions and vice versa, and really try to dialogue it out because it's hard. What's the week look like? Who plays when? Who's sitting? Who's, all of that, and trying to figure out how we can go about tackling Team Europe, and frankly, bring the cup back home because we want to win. We haven't won over there in 30 years, which is mind-boggling considering some of the guys that I compete, they were just born when the last time Team USA won in Europe. So it's hard. It's going to be hard, and I love that. I love the fact that it's going to be difficult. That's why I compete.
That's so cool. And hey, you've got at least one other guy that will be sitting at home watching and cheering for USA to bring it back. And while we're talking about some of these highlights, I would not be able to live with myself if we got to this show and I didn't ask about the Masters, right? Because even people who have never watched golf a day in their life, you say the Masters, they know what you're talking about, right? So take us back if you've got one moment. I mean, was it the moment that the jacket was put on you, but was it sinking the last putt? I mean, what stories do you have to share from that experience of winning the Masters? Because I mean, that's just it's inconceivable for people.
Yeah. Oh no, I appreciate that. It was that was a dream come true. That was shock and awe because at that point, I think I'd won one tournament on the PGA Tour. I think about it. I only won one event my rookie year. So we're 3 years removed from that. And, I mean, I was around 50th in the world. I wasn't like a beating down doors of winning tournaments all the time. So I put a lot of work in that previous fall and into the winter. My wife was pregnant at the time, very pregnant actually, and leading up into Christmas. So I took all of like November, even parts of October off, November, December off, and just worked and practiced and tried. Really what I did, and to add something to this whole dialogue, is I tried to make whatever was really good. There's certain things in golf that like, well, that's okay, and that's decent, and that's pretty good. You got to work on all of it. I mean, it's just like karate. You got to work on everything. But I tried to make my strengths even stronger, and so it didn't really come to fruition or surface the first part of January, February, March. But fortunately, it did at Augusta at the Masters in April, and I saw it. I mean, it was a very, very difficult week. It was an awful week. Just we haven't had one since. The weather was terrible. I don't think it hit 60 degrees the entire week. There was a couple of days where it was in the 40s, wind chill in the 30s. It was just terrible. So, and I love that. I'm a mutter. I'm a grinder. So I used that to my advantage. That Sunday was Easter Sunday, and as a Christian man, it was just like I was walking in a park, just hitting a golf ball because I was just a fortunate soul to do that. That's really what it felt like. I liked the fact that there's something bigger than me that day, a lot bigger than me. And at the end, some of the highlights for me were Will, my eldest boy, my only boy at the time, was like 3.5 months old, give or take. And my mother-in-law rushed him to me after I signed my scorecard, so I gave him a kiss. And in my mind, I'm getting ready for a playoff because there's still a couple of groups behind me, one of which was Tiger Woods. So I'm like, I got to get ready for a playoff. Who knows what's going to happen? And then, the rest is history. But one of the coolest things that happened that night, and this is Augusta National. So this is their membership. This is how.
If you can still hear us, I think you froze up one more time. Hopefully we'll get you back. And then if you can still hear me, once we get you back, we'll wrap up this story, and then we'll try to get to the end of the show. But hey, while we're waiting on that to reconnect, for those of you guys tuning in, again, what a special opportunity to have an athlete of this caliber on the show. So please drop those comments down below to show your support. Make sure you're hitting that share button so that all your friends see this. And we're back again.
Cool. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
You're good.
Anyway, long story short, we're at a cocktail party. It's just my wife and I. And we go up there on stage. They're just honoring us. They're toasting to us, that sort of thing. We're deer in headlights. And then they present us this mural, or this, not really mural, like a collage of pictures. It was just art, pure art. And this is 2.5 hours removed from the 18th green when I finished. And it was pictures of little like vignette pictures of my week. One of which was kissing my son. So, I mean, again, that's Augusta National. It's amazing. It's one thing. I'm not sentimental. I mean, I've got the trophy. My green jacket is at Augusta National. I don't get to keep that, which is fine. But I am not going to lose that piece of art. It is magnificent. So, and then after that, everything just kind of blew up, right? Media and all that sort of thing. So, but a very special week. I'd like to think that I haven't changed a whole lot. What has changed is probably more outside the ropes. 3 kids, and things of that nature. And that's what I'm a dad, right? I'm a dad and a husband first, and golf kind of has its place in line. But grateful. The Masters is amazing. As a competitor, you want to play against the best. You want to play in the best golf courses, the most historic and hallowed grounds, and that is the Masters. That is Augusta National. So knowing I can go back every year, for the most part, is something I still kind of pinch myself.
What an incredible story. I mean, I get goosebumps just listening to it. It's awesome. So I got 2 more questions. Hopefully the Wi-Fi will work with us, and then we'll get you out of here because I don't want to take up too much.
Wow, you're good. You're good. I love it. I just hope my Wi-Fi doesn't go out again. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. But so the one question that I was probably most excited to ask, and this is getting into that mindset of an elite athlete and tying it back to sport karate, right? I tell people all the time, because when you come to a sport karate tournament, as I mentioned earlier in the show, you have the opportunity to compete against the best in the world. You can register to compete against those people, or you can choose to enter the non-NASCA division, the amateur division.
Sure.
There's no different fees. You can just pick which one you go into. And I tell people all the time, go into the professional division. I don't care how good you think you are or are not. Go do it, because that is an opportunity that's unlike any other, right? But so many people are afraid of that they fear that moment, right? And, when my dad found out that we were going to do this podcast, because he's been a golf fan his whole life, he sent me a link of a clip from you at the Hero World Challenge, and it was a playoff or what have you against Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Having to hole out on that drop shot, right?
Yeah, that was
Tiger Woods, right?
Yeah.
So you're going up against, many would say that Tiger's the best to ever do it, right?
No question.
So when you're going up against guys like that, right? Even though obviously you're a professional in your own right.
Yeah.
What is it that allows competitors at the highest level to not fear that moment, but to embrace it and say, no, I'm going to make this my moment, right? To speak a little bit, obviously we can talk about that moment in particular too, but just in general, like having the courage to step up and compete against other competitors at such a level. Yeah.
No, that's really good. Your dad's very astute too. That was a long time ago. Let me start with that. Kind of on the same vein, along the same vein here. 2 years prior to that, it was he and I in that same tournament, same venue. We were dueling it out. I had a 1-shot lead going into 17, a par 3. I hit a good shot in there. I hit a great putt. I walked it in and it lipped out. Okay. And he's got 20 feet and he buries it. So now we're tied. Going into the 18th hole, I hit it down the fairway. He hits it down the fairway. I hit it on the green to like 30 feet, 2-putt. He hits it behind the hole 16, 18 feet, buries it. So I'm 1 up with 2 to go and I lose. Okay. It's his tournament, but you're like, oh, great. Tiger Woods, of course. Right. So fast forward 2 years later, I'm down 4 shots and it's just he and I. We've separated ourselves again from the field with like 8 holes to go. And it may have been 9. I can't recall, but it doesn't matter. Somehow I get it to even going into the 18th hole. I don't remember the breakdown, but I hit it down the middle of the fairway. And I'm like, man, 2 years ago he got me. And he's a good friend, right? I'm like, he's my age. When I say he's a good friend, it's not like we knew each other that well back then, but since that point, we've really kind of gotten to know each other pretty well. He's just become a nice confidant of mine. So he hits it in the left rough. I'm in the middle of the fairway. I'm like, I got him. Oh my gosh, he's got nothing. It's a right pin. The wind's hard. The terrible lie. He's got nothing. I'm like, I'm in the middle of the fairway. All I got to do is hit it on the green because he can't get the ball on the green. And he hits it into a bunker. I'm like, all I got to do is get on the green, 2-putt. This thing's over. This horrible thoughts, first of all. It's just horrible. At this point, I'm a tenured pro. It's not like I hadn't done anything. And I'm like thinking, oh, man, it's over. My ball's still in the middle of the fairway, and we haven't finished the hole. So he hits a good enough shot to get it around the green. I'm thinking, I just got to get the dang ball in the green, get out of here. Well, I hit the worst shot of the week. It was so far right off my club face, right off the bat that it was like, oh my gosh, I succumbed to the pressure. I fully, mentally I was checked out. I was like, this is over. And then two, once I got over the shot, I was like, I blacked out as if I didn't know what I was doing. So the execution was terrible. Like going back to the beginning, controlling the controllables. I did nothing of that. I was just like, this is it. I remember telling my caddy before I hit that shot, I'm like, this is awesome. Tiger Woods is in the rough. I'm in the fairway. This is why I practice. This is why we play. And so I hit in the water. I'm like, great. Now what? Well, I had to refocus, right? I had to get back on it. He could make a bogey and I could still get up and down and we could go to a playoff, whatever it may be. Well, I dropped the ball. I got 58 yards. I still remember the number. 58 yards from the drop circle to a pin, hit a wedge shot, a couple bounces, backed up about a half a foot and goes in. And I go crazy. I go bonkers, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Worst shot of the week, arguably of my career. And then, obviously a little bit of luck involved, but one of the best shots I've ever executed back to back. Two extremes, right? Vast extremes. He gets up and down, makes par. He almost made a sand shot. I win on the playoff. Okay, that's history. Going back to your question, that's how that broke down, right? So, yeah, I would encourage anybody and everybody to go out there and absolutely just make it hard. Challenge yourself because it's if you're in this for the right reasons, you want to win, certainly, but you want to get better and you want to grow and you want to learn and you want to stretch and you want to, all of that. That's the only way as a competitor you're going to get to be the full version of yourself in whatever you're doing. So, that's one example of that. I obviously have many ones that I've witnessed and ones that I've gone through myself. But yeah, I encourage anybody and everybody when it comes to the competitive side of things. Losing is not bad. I would argue sometimes it's probably better. It puts things in perspective really quick. You kind of learn what you need to do, what not to do. One of my best years of my career was while I was really young. I played, I guess it's now the Korn Ferry Tour, but the sister tour to the PGA Tour. I played it for a full season. I made 3 or 4 cuts that year out of, 15 to 18 tournaments. Played terrible, made no money, couldn't pay my investors back at the time, that kind of thing. And looking back on it, it was by far the best year of my career. I'm a young pro, kind of in foreign land here, getting into things that weren't very comfortable, didn't really know how to operate Monday through Wednesday leading up to the tournament, certainly didn't know how to operate Thursday, Friday before the cut, and Saturday and Sunday were non-existent. It was foreign to me because I didn't make any cuts till the last 2 or 3 tournaments. So best year of my career because I learned what to do. I learned what not to do, which is probably more important. And I think the parallel there is you just got to get in it. You got to immerse yourself in it. When I was playing at a young age and trying to work my way, I didn't care if it was a 1-day tournament, a 2-day tournament, a 3-day tournament, or, what obviously normal golf is, a 4-day tournament. Competitive golf was competitive golf. Competitive karate is competitive karate. But let's push yourself, challenge yourself. You're only going to get better. You're going to learn so much. excuse me, on the mat and outside the mat, just by watching and witnessing. Ask questions. Make it worth your time. I just think, that's the beauty of sports, is that, more times than not, you're going to lose, but man, turn those losses into positives. Turn those negatives into positives really quick, because you can do it. The best competitors, the best athletes that I've seen are the ones that go through a valley and then flip a switch and start rising back up to the peak. And you have to have the valleys to really appreciate the pinnacles and the tops of the mountains. And I know you've seen it, and you've lived through it, Jackson, because you're regarded as one of the best in a number of different things, but certainly when it comes to the bow, and you weren't at one time. I mean, that it doesn't happen overnight. You got to be in it. You've got to put time into it at home, in your practice dojo, and then obviously in competition. The only way you're going to get better is to get both feet in there and do it.
A absolutely fantastic message to close the show with. Before we get out of here, I did want to give you the opportunity to share one more thing with us, because I know you have the Zach Johnson Foundation, which does a lot of great work for kids back in Iowa, where you said your parents are at, right? So I want to give you an opportunity to just share a little bit about your foundation, and also tell the viewers how they can help out.
Oh, well, no, I appreciate that. I mean, the beauty of the game of golf is that it gives you a platform, that I think you can utilize in a proper way, and again, makes you feel this big, or puts you in a posture that's that big, because there's so many things that are bigger than you. And one thing that's bigger than me, there's a lot of things, is the community and the area, the people that gave me everything from day one. Certainly my parents, but my community of Cedar Rapids back at home in the state of Iowa, that's where it all started. And so, what better way for Kim and I to go back to where the game was given to me, and so much of what I have now from a value standpoint, an ideal standpoint, and the basic structure of how I'm built was given to me in this great town. Our foundation's based there. It's really corny. It's called the Zach Johnson Foundation. But we have a program there that's called Kids on Course. It's nothing to do with golf. I mean, my name's on it, and it has course, but it's not about golf. And I guess it could be technically, because we give kids, I guess, the ability and the freedoms to go out and participate in and out of the classroom to better themselves. Opportunities to grow academically, opportunities to grow outside of the classroom, all the things that I had, and maybe you did too, that I took for granted. So, it's not a very big town, but for Iowa standards, it's quite large. And, there's kids and families that just need a little bit of boost. And so we're happy to go back and do it. It's probably the most humbling thing I've ever been involved with, outside of having my own kids, is going back to that great community and being a part of that. I think the beauty of what we've established is we're seeing results, number one, which is key with our kids. Our first class just graduated from high school, and so we follow them, elementary, middle school, high school, and in college. So that's been cool to see, and we'll continue with them and hopefully see a number of success stories there. And whatever they want to do, right? We want to remove those barriers. That's number one. I would say number two is that the community itself has taken ownership in it. That's pretty special. I mean, they've made it their own as well. They want to see their community flourish. And so it's a good way to go about doing that. Selfishly speaking, I love it because of what it does for me. I would say just in perspective, right? There's one other thing I would like to convey. I don't care what your endeavor is, business world, arts world, sports world, karate world, golf world, it doesn't matter. The moment you make it your only thing, or the main thing, is the moment it's going to kind of chew you up and spit you out, okay? I think we're all called for bigger and better purposes, bigger and better endeavors. And, the foundation is just one of those things for us. I love it just because it's so humbling. It just puts things in perspective that quick. My identity is not wrapped around what I do inside the ropes. Certainly, it's my profession. And I'm not perfect at it. It sometimes controls my mind to a fault, but every now and again, I need a reminder. My foundation is one of those where it's, hey, Zach, come on. I mean, you play golf for a living. Look what you can do. You can serve in a number of different ways. I think that's a great thing. That's our call.
Awesome. And thank you so much for sharing that and incredible work that you guys do. So again, as we close out the show, I encourage anybody tuning in, make sure you go and show some support to that foundation. As a huge thank you to somebody making this a fantastic podcast. So thank you once again, sir, for your time, for your insight, both, just being a karate dad and then also talking about that mindset of an athlete at the highest level. So much good stuff to go back and listen to in this podcast. I want to give you one more opportunity. Any final comments or closing thoughts?
Well, I would say for all those families out there that are watching and listening that may be encouraged by it, get your butt out there, man. I want to see you out there competing. I can't say this enough. A lot of our friends, obviously our family, but those that certainly follow my wife on social media realize, what Wyatt's doing. They're pretty much in awe of it. I think you will be too. So get out there. I mean, get to your local dojo, get to an event. I know Jackson has the resources, his people has the resources. Check it out because they're impressive. And I think, if you have some young kids, they make it. Golf grabbed me, karate grabbed my son. Who knows? It might grab you or your daughter or your son. It doesn't matter what age you are either. Shoot, I'm seeing some adults start in white belts. I mean, how cool is that? It's kind of like golf. Doesn't matter when you pick it up. You can pick it up at any age. Pretty special.
Awesome. Excellent last words there. And once again, thank you to everybody tuning in and supporting the podcast. Make sure you hit that share button to share this with all your friends and family. And as I always say, keep spreading the gospel of sport karate. Once again, sir, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been episode 115 of the Jackson Rudolph Podcast, and I'll see you next time.